Yeah! Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 gameplay. Nice 2v2. Hello and welcome to this Warno 2v2 game played on Vertigo between Noël and DaBilla playing 76Y and 56Y, and they're going up against two guys who sadly I had to blur out their names because their names are quite offensive. So in the edit I've had to blur out their names. So we'll just be calling them 2nd Panzergren and 8th US Infantry. But yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'll spare you what the names were. It was very, very offensive. So we'll do the deck reviews, and then we'll do the map, the matchup, the deployments, and then the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right. So this is the deck review for Noël, and he's playing 76Y. So not seen this one in a while. We'll go through it tab by tab. Definitely a strong div, typically suited for 1v1s. The first thing I noticed was, oh yeah, we should talk about this, right? So it's a 2v2. So you've got to synergize with your teammates. And so this is the 56Y player. And it's just, it doesn't do it in any sort of order. It's so annoying. I'll just edit out this, there it is, right? So it's down there. R, S, T, U, V, oh, it does it in alphabetical order, okay. So you got to think about CVs. So you're on Vertigo 2v2. Must have been a lobby game, and so you should know, how many CVs do you need. So in a 1v1 deck, you would bring 3 cards of CVs. That's very typical. But in a 2v2 deck, you don't need 3 cards of CVs. You can get away with 2, and that means you can bring some more cool stuff. So DaBilla here has brought 8 CVs. 3 plus 3 plus 2 is 8. And I've lost it again. Right, so there it is. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. You don't really need 14 CVs, right? So I'd be removing 1 from each of these. So if we look at the 76Y deck, you can get rid of that and get the 3rd card of supply, because there's two half grads here. It's going to be hard to keep those firing. An alternative would be for the 56Y player to get rid of one of his, which is probably a better idea actually. And oh yeah, they don't get a fob either. Okay. Just in terms of the picks, the composition, both of these divs are really strong in isolation, but together you find yourself lacking the heavy tanks, basically. You find yourself lacking the long-range AA, the good RT. I mean, obviously 56Y's got very nice cluster mortars, but aside from that, good RT, long-range AA, heavy tanks, medium tanks, right? Well, okay, you get the T62s. So I think the composition's a bit not that great. 56Y is always strong. So you could go 56Y and then something else like 79Y for the tanks, or 9th East German for the artillery and the tanks and the 2,800 meter range stuff and the BMP2s, right? So yeah, having 76 and 56 on one team is suboptimal, because you'll find that in the late game, and I haven't seen the game yet, in the late game, you'll find yourself really struggling against IFV and tank spam, which is very popular. And the advantage that you get from airborne forward deployment is not as big in a team game as it is in a 1v1, because you tend to be playing on a narrower front, right? So they're on Vertigo, so they're playing on half a 1v1 map each anyway, basically. And so the enemy IFV tank blob can push you out quite easily. So yeah, the composition isn't great, and the one I'd be getting rid of is 76Y in favor of 79Y or 9th East German, even something like 4th Mordschützen, although because you'd get the Cubs. You'd still have problems with not having any BMP2 spam, basically. So yeah, just something to think about. So yeah, you can get rid of this, replace it with that 3rd card of supply, if you want to keep these firing all game. This is quite an inefficient supply, but if you buy it up and sell it as fast as possible, then you should be alright. Infantry tab, so now one of these should come in a car, because... oh, yeah. So other CV options, right? So this is 45 and 2 availability, this is 85 and 2 availability. You don't really want your CV in combat, unless it's a tank CV, at which point, you know, it's very difficult to keep them alive. I really struggle. With something like this, you definitely don't want it in combat, because it's got no smoke, it's not really got much armor, it's just going to die. So yeah, I think like this is a good one, but if you've got a wheeled CV in this tab, you don't need a wheeled CV in this tab, and you could just get this for 45. So yeah, one of these should be wheeled now, and then you can get it there faster. In terms of the CVs, we've got 5 strength Igla smoke for 100 points, 4 strength for 85 points with no smoke. We already spoke about this one, and those are your only 2 options. So between them, I think he's picked the right one. I think the Descent Com is better than the Descent Saperi Com. For 15 points more, you're getting AA, which is fairly useful actually, and a smoke grenade. No AT is a bit of a problem, but the smoke grenade is very, very useful if you use it. If you don't use it, it's not useful. Because yeah, I had a guy tell me, oh well, the MTLB isn't that much worse than like the FV432 scat, because who smokes anyway? And it's like, well, I smoke. In the game, right? I can't afford it in real life. What is it, like £13 a pack now? What a joke. Actually, I think it's a great thing. But why have the middleman, right? Why have the middleman of like vampirically extorting them of their wealth? Just throw them straight in the wood chipper, right? Why have the middleman? It's just a waste of everybody's time. Oh, well, let's make it, let's just fleece them until they die. Well, what's the point? Just kill them. Anyway, in Minecraft, right? So Desant Niki with in the Gaz with the RPG 7 VR. I don't really like this squad. Your other options are, so you can get this squad, which is 9 men with 2 RPGs for 70 points. Right, it is a lot more expensive actually. Or you can get some Pulmachiki perhaps, so 7 men for 50 points with 3 machine guns. This is 45. You do lose an availability, I think. But realistically, what you should be bringing is Desant Niki BMD. Because for 45 points, they get an SVD. SVD is like 2 machine guns, so that's like 3 machine guns, which is like 6 rifles, which means they fight with the strength of 10 men. The RPG, it has less pen, but it has longer range, which I personally find is more useful than those 2 extra pen. And it comes with the BMD too, which is kind of what it's all about. So I'd be getting rid of this, and I'd be replacing it with a Desant Niki BMD. Now, you do lose availability, right? And then, yeah, Metis squad, and then these regular Desant Niki. I really don't like them. Where's that really good squad? What are they called? Oh, they might be on 56Y. This is a good squad, right? So 7 plus 4, because this is like, that's 11 strength, and 2 RPGs is pretty cool. And having 9 strength is more useful than having 6 strength, right? So if you need like a frontline shoot people squad, this is it. Other ideas is like this card is actually really funny, because you buy it at the start and you put 1 down every road and you just see what you can kill. It's actually quite powerful. This is only 5 strength, so there's no point. But yeah, this is a pretty good squad. You could get a second card of Desant Niki Metis and bring that in the BTRD. But yeah, I think this squad is just not very good. You get a lot of them, but 45 points for 7 men is on the expensive side. You're paying for that airborne forward deployment and that shock, which aren't particularly useful. And an RPG you're never in range to use. So yeah, I mean, the alternative is a 3rd card of Desant Niki BMD. I mean, it's very good. So yeah, let's get rid of that. And then with these ATGMs, it can be useful to bring one in a car, one card in a car, but I mean at the start of the game you've got this, right? Which is pretty powerful. And so you don't really need a forward deployed conkers. It can be useful. But yeah, I'd be bringing it in the robot, even though so this is 40 points for an ATGM, but it's got smoke and it's literally got 10 conkers, and the amount of spam you can get with this is really quite incredible. I wouldn't be bothering to vet it because the way it works with these ATGM units is either they're shooting and they're fine, or they're being shot at and they need to leave before they die, or they have just died. And so there's no point up vetting it because all you're getting really is 5% accuracy, and you basically the main advantage of up vetting is suppression resistance, and suppression resistance doesn't matter on a thin-skinned vehicle that's either fine or dead, right? So yeah, have that one vet. Get rid of this. I mean, you can bring 2 cards and then like really pour it out over the course of the game. Just have infinite ATGMs. That is a possibility. It can be done. I've seen it work, so that you can do that. But yeah, I wouldn't be betting it. Although, and I'd definitely be bringing it in the robot. And if you need forward deployed ATGM, like super fast, super there, then there you go. You've got the Desatniki Metis, and also your BMDs have ATGMs on them, so you don't really need 2 cards of this. But yeah, other things to bring. I really find this one quite funny for the start of the game. You can get a lot of value out of it, especially if you mix it with this, because that's forward deployed AA. And just over the course of the game, like because you won't be buying 8 at the start, you can buy one of these and one of these, and just click this, Shift F, click on the SPG one, and then just send the SPG one round the back. It's very, very funny. And that's how you've basically got to play airborne divs. Because yeah, you're good at the start, and then the IFE blob will just run you over late game unless you constantly harass the enemy's backline, which you should really be doing as an airborne div. So yeah, I like that. Get rid of this one. And then, yeah, Spetscrupper V, very powerful squad, particularly at the start of the game. This is 90 instead of 100. Although I suppose they all are, but this is 100, so they'll get there a little bit faster. So you should definitely have one of these out on every road at the start. And in this 2v2, you can give your friend one or whatever. And yeah, these are very powerful at hurting people. So yeah, 2 machine guns, that's like 12 strength, quote unquote. Obviously they can't shoot at max range with their SMGs, but they've got the satchels, they've got the very powerful close range AT, and so that's a really good squad. And then yeah, you can either bring a 3rd card of Desatniki, BMD, and like if you want an anti-infantry squad, just bring this in the truck, because it's got the SVD, it just makes it so much better than the other one. You do lose availability. Or you can have, 18 BMD2s, which can work. Or you can, get some Pomachiki if you want more anti-infantry. Or you can get a 2nd card of Conkers and bring it in the robot and just have a million Conkers. You could even bring this one, which we can't name. But for 10 points more, I think the Conkers is a lot better. It's got more range, it's got more pen. Accuracy is actually the same. Interesting. But yeah, you can't go wrong with 3 cards of BMD's 2s. Artillery, so yeah, the Vasilec's terrible. Don't bring that. If you want mortars for smoke, this is like the best mortar, not including the cluster mortar, in the game. For some reason, the 82mm goes further than the 120mm mortar. Goes further than any other 82mm mortar. So this can work. But over time, I've become more used to self-propelled things just to save on the micro burden. So yeah, I these days I would be bringing the Nona instead. Even if I want to smoke, I'd still be bringing this. The only problem is it's only got 18 rounds, so it does run out after 3 salvos, which means you've really got to be careful with supplying it. And then yeah, so for half grads, it can work, but you need that 3rd card of supply as we spoke about. Particularly in a team game, this can work quite well. What I would say is that your teammate is playing 56Y, and he gets the regulars, he gets the regular grads. So that's something you could look into, like 2 of these instead of 4 of these. Although, you know, this reloads a lot faster. So if you've got 2 of these, that's 24 rounds every, what, 80 seconds? Whereas this is 40 rounds every 120 seconds. So it is actually better, but... so yeah, you could sort of jig it, but then obviously you want the cluster mortar and the regular mortar, so I get it. I get it. But yeah, maybe you could get rid of his noners or something. Who knows? So, where was I? So yeah, I think this can work in a team game. In 1v1, you wouldn't really want to be doing this, but in a team game, I think it can actually work quite well. Put CV next to them, but you got to make sure you got loads of supply, otherwise you're going to run out of supply pretty quickly trying to do this. Tank tab, so quote-unquote tank tab. So yeah, so you can get this for the start of the game, and it's got good stealth and forward deployment. Further into the game, this obviously replaces it because, well, I say obviously, it's got good stealth. It's just not got forward deployment, and it's got a better missile. So yeah, you don't need this if you've got this, because they both fulfill similar roles. This at the start of the game, shooting people. Another idea, if you don't want, you know, let's say you don't want 3 cards of BMD2s or what have you, although I really do think it's worth it, is, you know, grenade launchers. So like, for example, this could come in the BTRD, because that's actually pretty useful. Grenade launcher and smoke, I've had it used against me, it is quite useful. But ultimately, you can get away with not bringing it if you've got BMDs doing that kind of role for you. Yeah, so BMD 3s, so they're expensive. These are your quote-unquote tank. There's some sort of nonsense march to war unit. Very, very good against infantry, because it's got the autocannon, the 2 PKTs, and the grenade launcher. It's mainly the autocannon and the grenade launcher that'll be doing the heavy lifting. And the Conqueror's M is pretty gnarly. 23 pen with tandem, which means it does +1 damage to ERA units. So yeah, it can one-shot a... I keep forgetting this now, right? So 20 is 6, 21 is 7, 22 is 8, 23 is 9. So it can one-shot a Leopard 1. It can even one-shot a Leopard 1 with ERA, which doesn't exist, but it could. So yeah, this would one-shot, side-shot a Challenger Mark III or something like that. So yeah, they are cool. They are very expensive though, so you've got to keep them alive. You got to keep them basically in ATGM range. Pad them out with regular BMD2s, where you get an infantry squad and the BMD2 for less than this. So yeah, that's all sensible. Recon tab, you know, you could make the claim that you don't really need 18 of these. Save yourself 2 points, which you can put in here. So, Russia Today Razvedka are honestly just a waste of time. They've got this SIGINT trait, right? And the SIGINT trait means it's got a nice blue circle around it, and it lights up if there's an enemy in that circle, and you can try and use it to locate exactly which building somebody is in. I think it's a massive waste of time. Maybe you don't. But yeah, I'd be getting rid of this in favor of Spetsnaz GRU, who have... interesting. Who have ground surveillance radar, so you'll have exceptional optics, which is very much worth having. Then, yeah, Desant Spetsrazvedka, very, very useful, and you bring them in the car so they can get there as fast as possible. This thing is not so bad, actually, because it's got grenade launcher and mediocre stealth, so it can be quite annoying, but typically you want these there fast so you can intercept enemy AA nonsense. Then, yeah, Razvedka BMD3 is very powerful. And the Shmel is very, very powerful. So you can either use this to get the Descent Razvedka with the UAZ grenade launcher, which can be very annoying to fight against, or you can use it here, and what you can bring here is this. Forward deployed ZU-23-2, which is really going to help you at the start of the game with your forward deployment, because this will be in a car, and it can just die a lot more easily. What I would say is if you're going to be bringing this in a car, I'd be bringing it in the Igla car, because you basically get in a second Igla for 20 points. So twice your firepower there. This is very useful. The alternative, so yeah, if you've got this, then you don't really need this anymore. And then you can get this. So these towed AA guns are really funny. You can't just leave them in the open. You want to put them behind something. Use the LOS tool so that whenever they're in vision, they're in range. And you can really upset people's infantry with these quite a lot. You can get away with not having it on this div because you've got autocannons here, right? But I really like them. The alternative is... yeah, bring back the Igla, get it in that Igla transport. Then I guess you don't need this anymore, and then yeah, then you can do that. But at the very least, with it the way it's set up, this should be in the Igla transport. And then this is for later on in the game, and the Scratch it. It's good against infantry. It's kind of hard to use because it's a vehicle, whereas this is towed. And if it's towed, then it's not going to die in one hit to an ATGM. It's not going to be dying at all to an ATGM. And then, yeah, those last 2 points could go in the recon tab for this grenade launcher vehicle, or that's about it, really. Or you could get your 18th BMT3, or you could get more of these, right? So yeah, you could get. I mean, at the very least, I'd be 2-vetting these if you're gonna bring 3 cards. But yeah, I really like this because basically later on in the game. So yeah, goes down to 2. Get this. Later on in the game, or even at the start, there should be one of these in your big push at the start, minimum, because it'll just take out all the helicopters and stuff. And whereas this is useful, but it's not forward deployed. And this is basically your long range AA, which is why people bring it. So I understand why this is in the deck. So yeah, this you pair it up with. One of these if you've still got these left, and you just send them in little 2-man teams around the side. Why not? Why not? You should be doing it. Or you pair it up with one of these, and you send that in a little 2-car team around the side. Through the forest all the way around, right? This shoots whatever's on the road, and then when they send a helicopter, because that's what they always do, this kills the helicopter. It's great news, right? So, yeah, air tab. So, yeah, you definitely want both cards of these, especially in a team game. It's basically the best. In a team game, it's the best fighter because it's got the best range. Although Vertigo's a bit more of a 1v1 map. If you micro these properly, they should never die. You only fire at max 2 missiles before evacing it, right? So if they're over there, you just sling a missile at them and wrap yourself all the way back around, and then sling a missile at them and wrap yourself all, and you should just never get hit. It depends how good your micro is. I always get hit anyway. And then yeah, this disc supposedly can shoot helicopters, but that's what your teammate's for, really. It's just so you can keep doing it, and your enemy basically, like after the first few minutes of the game, your contribution to the team, you should win the opener because of this div. And then your contribution to the team should be primarily making sure the enemy air force is always taken out. Just always having one of these at the back of the map, just slinging off missiles at any plane that comes along with a couple in reserve. And yeah, don't get tempted to be like, I've still got 2 missiles left. Only fire 2. If you're going right into them, only fire 2 and then evac. Or, fire 1 and then wrap yourself back around. Fire 1, wrap yourself back around. Don't be tempted to dive anything. Ever, because then this loses its comparative advantage. It's still 40% ECM plane with 2 8HE missiles on it, right, and mega speed, but it loses its comparative advantage. So yeah, this is kind of trash, but what can you do? I mean, if you get rid of it, what else do you bring? More BMD3s? more arty. Because it's like a 3-point slot, right? Yeah, so it'd be 2 more BMD3s, or even more supply or something. So yeah, I mean, it's just not that great for the price. And then, yeah, the HE bomber, 2 LGBTs, 4 AT planes, and, wow, for 5 points more. I mean, so this missile used to fire once every... It would just fire both within 1 second, because it would have a 1 second reload time, which was just very silly. So now that's been nerfed a bit. Now, you know, the price difference between these, like, this is obviously better because it's got so much more range, but it's not fire and forget, so it'll only shoot 1 missile at once, until the first one misses or hits. And then, yeah, the seeds. So yeah, you can do big air wave stuff, right? So that's pretty cool. Although overall, I think it's sort of not a good idea to play to play 2 airborne, right? And then the teammate DaBilla is playing this one, and we spoke about how we can get rid of a card here, right? Because you don't need that many. Between these two, for 20 points more, you get twice the armor, twice the HP for 20 points more. And it's a little bit faster. So yeah, this is it's much more survivable against artillery, so I prefer this over this in this case. And then we've got 3 cards of supply, which makes sense. But yeah, with your 3 cards of supply, you could... well, we'll see where we can spend our last 3 points, shall we? Just looking through it all. Oh yeah, I found it. So, Inf tab. Conkers, don't be upvetting it for the same reason we just spoke about. And then Conkers in a helicopter is like... Why? I suppose, I mean, you can get to places at the start, but your teammate has forward deployed units, so you don't really need this. I wouldn't really be doing that. It's not even like a helicopter that hurts people or anything, so I just wouldn't be doing that, really. I'd be getting rid of this and replacing it with a 14-man squad. And you can bring this in an MI8 MTV rocket. Oh, he's already done that. Okay, you can bring this one in a truck so you can actually bring it. Or you could bring the orcs in the melter, and that's pretty cool. Rocket spam, that's very cool. Or you could bring the Commoditura in the UAS Commoditura. Turn off autocell on this, Shift F, click on your tanks, it'll follow your tanks around. Not really necessary for this division, but that's pretty cool. Or you could bring a, you know, grenade launcher guy. But yeah, for me it would be between the second card of Dush RPG 22 and the Okranas in the melter. So yeah, we've put that in there. Then Afghansky, yeah, very strong squad, anti-infantry, and then what you do is you pair it up with Dush RPG 17, because this has 1,025 meters range, or you just pair it up with, you know, just like a regular guy, with more pen, and yeah, you can put them both in the same building, and it's very, very effective, very difficult to deal with in those urban terrains. Dush Metis, yeah, that's a good squad. The AGS thing can be useful. I can never keep these alive, but if you can, the grenade launcher KPVT combo is actually very potent, but I can never keep them alive, so I understand bringing it in the Ural. Then BMD2 spam, which, yeah, I'd be 2-vetting these, although, well, it's a team game. So team games typically go on for longer, and so then you get less value out of like max vet, and you should still at least be bringing stuff on 1 vet almost all the time. But you know, with VDV, you get that for free. So yeah, maybe it makes sense to be bringing these on 1 vet, because if the game goes late, you might need them all. But yeah, this is very normal. RPG 7, BMD2 spam, Pomachiki, BMD2 spam. Get as many BMD2s as you can. RT, so. Nonas aren't that great, but neither is the Gvozdika. And then, yeah, this will be your damage dealer, and this will be your damage dealer. So, yeah, this, I guess, is for smoke. At which point you could just bring this one instead. But, like we spoke about, I prefer the self-propelled stuff for smoke, because if you move it, it just never gets counter battery, so that's nice. Tank tab, this is very normal. Yeah, you bring this, because it's the command one. Yeah, you bring this, because it's got the Bastion. One shots for armor vehicles, and yeah, you bring this. I mean, they're very, very effective. Like, the tanks are very... Because the T-62 gets a lot of armor. And this one obviously doesn't have a max range gun, and the fire rate's not great. But you compare them to, like, the Chieftains, and they're so much better. It's just very sad. Anyway, yeah, and this has got the Bastion, so it goes very far. Recon tab, so this is where we spend our 3 AP that I saved you before. So, yeah, Recon Helo, okay, it can work, yeah. Do the jamming, do the opticking, yeah, it makes sense. Then Spetsnaz Group for the opener, yes, very sensible. And you want it in the AGS-17 as you've brought it, because it gets good stealth, good optics, and a grenade launch, which helps you at the start. Then Dush motorized Razvedka in the Razvedka BMP-2D, and then Dush Razvedka in the Descent. So there you go, some more rockets for you there. And then with our third AP, you want a second card of Razvedka BMP-2D, because this is absolutely cracked, and you want as many of them on the field as possible. Then, with that being an extra 6 Razvedka BMP-2Ds, you can go 2, 4, 6, right? And see if you can get away with it. Although in a team game, maybe not. Maybe not in a team game. Especially on something like Vertigo, it might be better to just keep these like this. Shout out to the Reese, it is decent. It's just these guys sort of do the same thing but better. The RPO isn't that much worse than the Reese, so like look, 0.9 versus 1.1. The Reese has more ammo, but it takes ages to reload. It's got less range as well, wow. It does want HE, but yeah, the Afghansky's an incredible squad. Just got to make sure they don't get caught out. So yeah, I'd definitely be bringing 2 cards of this Razvedka BMP-2D. And just buying all of those before you start buying these. Obviously it's a bit more expensive, but in general, I think it's worth it. AA, so Dush Igla in the ZU thing, okay. Dush Igla in the ZU thing, okay, and they're at 2 vet because yeah, you don't need 18 of them, okay, it can make sense. And then this with 76Y as your compadre, yeah, 5 of these should be fine. I always up vet them 1 anyway, or at least I tell people to, and then sometimes I don't do it, but yeah, it makes sense. I mean, generally you don't need more than 5 of these. Helo tab, so AA, AT, AT. The AA one I used to really like, but this isn't actually the good AA one, because these only deal 4 HE, which means you'd actually need 3 of them to kill 10 HP plane. And for the same price, you can get Kokons, but yeah, it can be worth bringing 1. Between like your other choices are, you know, these at 2 per card, but there's no point when you've got all the. You know, something like this. 7 plus 6 is 13 quick maths. But yeah, the choices between the one on the right and the one on the left. Every time I look at this, I come to a different conclusion. But yeah, I prefer the longer range missiles, but for 15 more points, getting the better gun and the ECM is probably... I mean, it doesn't really matter, basically. That's why I can't decide between them. And this has a lot more rockets. Having said that, only 20% of those 80 missiles will hit. And that means 16 missiles will hit. Somebody last time said there's a consecutive shot bonus. The consecutive shot bonus is basically if you keep shooting the same target, your accuracy goes up. Your accuracy goes up by 3% per shot for a maximum of 3%. As in, if you fire 2 shots, it's still 3%. So if you fire 80 shots, it's still 3%. So I just ignore it because it's nonsensical. So yeah, 20% is 16, right? Whereas 30% of 20 is... So what, 10% would be 2, so that'd be 6. 6 rockets instead of 16. Yeah, maybe the one on the right's better. It's just the range, really. But yeah, I think the one on the right's probably better. Air tab. So these planes are ridiculously cost efficient because they got 20% ECM. This missile's really good. This missile's really good. So they're actually a really good plane. And this is basically the same, except it's got slightly less accuracy. Oh, crud. It's got slightly less accuracy, and it's got worse AA. But yeah, I really like these ASFs. And then, but obviously your teammates should be doing most of that. Then the AT2 is very cool. It's very, very cost effective. Then they don't bring the HE one, because the HE one has to fly directly over the target to drop its bombs, at which point you are dead. So I really don't rate the HE one at all. If you want some HE of your own, you know, you could just use these in an attack. Well, you could use this in an attack role with the twin guns. It's actually pretty powerful, and it's an AT plane. Like, I'd just be bringing that. So that's it for the deck reviews. Then we'll go into the deployments, then the game and the matchup, and you know, timestamps. Right, so with the deck reviews out of the way, let's talk a bit about the map and the matchup. As I spoke about in the deck reviews, I don't actually think that 76Y and 56Y is a good combo here. Mainly because, so 56Y isn't really a proper airborne division. But in general, so the strat used to be one airborne, one armored, and that was always the strat. So if you watch my older videos, I talk about it a lot. But the airborne divs kept getting nerfed, and with vision being better, armored divs are now, well, IFV spam divs are comparatively much better. And so basically it would be one of those divs and then something like 79Y or 119Y, or 27Y for the BMP3s, something like, or 9th East German, or 20th Polish, just something that's got the late game. And personally, I mean, 56Y is just such a strong div. I'd be getting rid of the 76Y and replacing it with 79Y. That's just me. Or 119Y if you still want that core forward deployed component. If that's still part of your strategy, in 119Y you get Spetsnaz, right? Get loads of fighters. So I think the picks here are suboptimal. As for their opponents, name 1 and name 2, which sadly I had to blur out because they were very offensive names, so I had to blur them out in the edit. I apologise for that. I'll spare you what those names were. It was very controversial. So 2nd Panzergren, always strong, and then 8th Infantry in 1v1s is kind of bad. But in team games, it can work because you just play a narrow lane and buy all your Abrams and spam all your mech rifles in a very, very narrow lane. But ultimately, I think 8th would be a worse pick in this case, particularly on Vertigo, than 3rd US Armoured, because they would get the M270 cluster as opposed to the M270 HE. They don't get the M110s. Or even something like 11th ACAV. Just for the open ground capacity, you don't need that much infantry on this map. Obviously, if you get caught in the Anna Quagmire, then you can do, but generally that's a skill issue. So yeah, I think 8th is a suboptimal pick there. Even something like 5th Panzer, 2nd Panzer, 5th Panzer can work, because, yeah, 8th isn't that great. In team games it can work, as we spoke about. So, looking at the deployments, we've got name 1 on the left here. No, hang on. Name 1 is on the right. Well, this is going to get confusing. So we've got... Oh, but if I switch to this side, then this will be name 2. Yeah, that's perfect. Think about everything. So, we've got the 8th US player on the left. And he's opening with... so M113s, M1 Abrams, M60, Pivads, iHawk, an ITV. That's a TV channel in the UK, by the way. Yeah, a bit of a weird deployment. So, Bradley CFVs make sense. In 1v1s, you want the M150 because it can cover a lot of ground because it's 40 points for tow. But in a team game, you're covering a narrower front comparatively, so you don't actually need this in your deck. This will suffice. So yeah, this is a bit of a waste, really. And yeah, then we've got LRS going on the left to the town. It's actually... Okay, so he's... I mean, it can work, but... you sort of missed the right. So at the start of the game, basically both players come down this road and try and take these buildings. So he's not going for that at all. I guess he figures he can't contest 76Y in that kind of battle, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, just a blob of mech rifles and stuff going in, backed by a couple of tanks. M113 A3s are good in 1v1 because you use the 50 cal to hurt people. In team games, they're not so useful because you just get outscaled by armor pretty quickly. Having said that, I mean, they've still got their place, I suppose. Yeah, so that's basically it for the left. Like 1 CV in a tracked supply, so that's going to take ages to get there, so that doesn't make too much sense. At least the other one's in a wheeled supply. So they will be behind on points at the start, because the enemy presumably has a bunch of forward deployed CVs. Yes, they do. And then on the right, we've got 2 CVs, which is sort of pointless. I guess this one is just because it's wheeled, but you're going to be behind on CVs anyway. Yeah, you're going to be behind on CVs anyway. It's just kind of bringing this in the M113A3 instead of getting the one that comes in a car is a bit weird. So yeah, if you're going to be, you don't really need this, right? I'd be swapping that out for just the tank. Save yourself a cheeky 65, 75 points. 2 fobs, which it can make sense for 2nd Panzergren because they get a bunch of laws and stuff. For 8th US Infantry, it doesn't really make any sense. And then, yeah, the 2nd Panzergren player on the left is charging bravely forwards with a bunch of FS Jaeger, Milan 2s, some recon, some scimitars. Not actually going for the mid. So yeah, just setting up like a lot of ATGMs and a bunch of it. So going for this, which can make sense. I don't really like the German sniper. Is it actually a sniper? No, it's a DMR. So it's a DMR, so it doesn't actually shoot as far as a sniper. And deploying 3 of those at the start doesn't really make much. Or 2 of those at the start in the same place doesn't really make much sense. I guess you could try and sneak it around the back. But yeah, 1 would suffice. And a striker. Switching to their opponent's deployment. We've got Noël and DaBilla playing 76Y and 56Y. And yeah, you'd expect 76Y in the town because they've got the better infantry, and you'd expect 56Y in the open. As I spoke about, I think this is a suboptimal draft. I don't think you want both of these divs at once. Yeah, so let's start on the left, I suppose. So we've got DaBilla opening on the left, and he's got a couple Spetsnaz Gru Stinger trying to get over to here. So this is a dangerous road because a forward deployed ATGM which gets to here would actually be able to kill you on this road. So just something to keep in mind. Another thing you can do is like path it to here, and then it would use this road. It's a little bit safer. You'd actually still get shot, but just be aware at the start of the game because you can always unload your guys or whatever. Forward deployed CV from Noël, and then 2 Conkers in MI8s, which we spoke about in the deck review. I don't really agree with this. I'd be bringing them just in the cars because this is like at the start of the game. That's 45 points instead of 20 times. So that's an extra 50 points out of your deployment, which could have been a supply vehicle or something. I don't know. And then just a bunch of what? So that's a bit weird to tell you the truth. 56Y would want to be spamming BMD2s. BMP2s in this situation, and T62s with the Bastion missile, because if you get that up to here, then you're going to get everybody just charging a bunch of non-forward deployed infantry over to the left side without any real support. He's also got Conkers in cars. Is kind of weird. So yeah, like no BMP2s is very odd, and there's not any AA in there either. I suppose the Spetsnaz Gru Stingers are the AA. So yeah, that's very, very suboptimal. You'd want all of these to be BMP2 units essentially, because the BMP2s will help you in the open, whereas all these infantry won't. Like the range on the Metis is very, very low. And then for the middle, we've got a mix of Noël and DaBilla. So Spetsnaz Gru Sting. Oh, okay. Let's just go into there. But then these. So if these are going in, then really this should be coming with her. And then, yeah, we spoke about how the Russia Today Razved, because kind of pants. More DaBilla units, and these haven't actually been pathed. They've got no order, so that's a big mistake. But yeah, in general, like, way too many trucks, way too few BMP2s, and you need a couple T62 bastions at the start. Can be very, very useful. In general, this is a nice map for those T62s, because the bastions are useful here, and the regular T62s can shoot across here no problem, even though they've got, 1 pip less range than... because they shoot 2,100 instead of 2,275. So yeah, a suboptimal deployment. On the right, we've got Noël charging into Anna here. I do like that he's going for this, because, yeah, it's useful to have. Locking down this whole area is very useful. You see his opponent hasn't done that, although he doesn't have the forward deployment, apart from LRS, so I can understand why he's not done it. And yeah, so, I mean, let's go through this. So we've got regular Desantniki, which I spoke about how I don't really think they're very good. Regular Desantniki again going to here. Conquer's going to here. Okay, so that is now what I would consider an overinvestment. 1 Conquer's, 1 regular unit. Or, yeah, that's probably fine. 1 Conquer's, 1 regular unit. And then, yeah, Desantniki BMD. But this is an attract vehicle, so these guys aren't getting here for actually... Sorry, yeah, they're not even in... Because, yeah, that was another thing we picked up in the deck review. You need more BMD2s, essentially. And the regular Desantniki are just not a very effective anti-infantry squad. So, yeah, 6 of those get in there, an attract vehicle, going to all the different buildings. Yeah, it's sort of missing a trick here, because the guys in... Like, so you should get a Conkers and a regular guy and an AA to here as fast as possible, because if you get the Conkers to here, you're really going to mess up their reinforcement roads, right? They're all going to drive past you. But instead, we've got these kind of tracked vehicles, which aren't going to add too much. They're not IFVs, so they don't have the range. They've literally just got grenade launchers on them, which will help you at close ranges, but... how are you going to kill that Abrams, basically? And yeah, I really think these Russia Today Razvedkas are kind of bad. So behind that, we do have some guys. So BRDM to Conquer to here. Conquers to here is good. There can work. Basically, you'd want one of these here, because then it can shoot all these guys coming in. This can as well, but it can be shot back, whereas this tends to have the range advantage with the good stealth and everything. So yeah, 1 going to here, so this one could go to there. A couple BMD3s, a couple Strelas. Yeah, so an interesting deployment. I just think, like, you need to spam IFVs. That's the learning for both of these players. Spam out those IFVs. That's the meta, right? I'm sorry to say, but that's how it is. That's how it is. So yeah, let's watch the game. Right, so they're off, or at least most of them are, and it's time to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. At the highest tier, they get the games cast at a rate of 1 per calendar month. I did have to increase the price recently because I was getting too many requests. That's why it's so expensive. Also, I really like money. Really great way to improve. Because then, you get your problems pointed out and you get shamed in front of like 2,000 people, which is a pretty good incentive to fix those problems for the next time. So yeah, I do appreciate you watching the video. Please just like the video, right? You've got nothing else to do while the units move towards the middle of the map. Having said that, I do have the channel statistics. I know that most people do just skip to round about now. So there you go. So yeah, Noël getting into the zone first, as you'd expect. Same with DaBilla here. And the question is, who is he going to react? Okay, so he reacts, and then he should be moving this back, really. Okay, so he's running forwards. Because, yeah, 2nd Panzergrenad's got a much stronger forward deployment than 56Y. And this is exactly what I was talking... So, if you put your units too close together, the splash makes them both die to one thing, which is what happened there. And yeah, this guy's going to die as well. Middle has been seized by red, which is a very good idea. But yeah, what was I supposed to call this guy? Player 2? Sadly, I had to blur out the names of the blue players because they were very offensive. And so yeah, this will be player 1 and player 2. So yeah, sorry that this is blurred out here. I just got that in the edit. So yeah, BTRDs all dying. Not fantastic. Not particularly surprising. And yeah, DaBilla here not really updating his pathing here. So these guys probably gonna die, especially when that okay, so he unloaded in time. So yeah, not a great deployment from Red. Could have been a lot stronger. I mean, they're on the +2, but it's just yeah. So another, like, how many guys have died from these things now? F-16 going in for the helicopter. The way you fix this if you're Red is obviously you should have a plane up, but you put it behind. You don't put it over a forest. You put it behind so like here, for example. Obviously, fighting over here in general is just kind of difficult for you. But the idea is that you can land it, and you can't do that if it's in a forest. So yeah, regular Desatniki are bad, as we spoke about, and so they're all dying there, as you'd expect. And another plane there. Really, there should be. So if there's not going to be any AA, there should be some fighters. I suppose he was relying on his Spetsnaz Crew Stingers, one of which isn't unloaded, 2 of which died here, and 1 died here. So yeah, no AA there. So blue is going to get the tick. We spoke about these in the deck review as well. They're not very good, and you definitely don't want to be buying them when there's an enemy plane up. Although he has run out of missiles, and if these had actually right-clicked that, they would have killed it. It's a shame this guy's not unloaded either. So yeah, the issue with the SU-25 is it's very slow, and by the time you get to where you want to go, the enemy is going to buy some jets and kill you there. So that's not fantastic, and just a lack of BMP2 spam from the 56Y player, lack of BMP2s and T62Ds. That's what you want to be buying, and just buying Strikecraft when the enemy has loads of AA up. Is not great. Really, the red team should have fighter supremacy here, with the MiG-31s just constantly outranging these. I mean, look at the range on that. So yeah, 2v1 here. So good kill for DaBilla. He's got to get out because the IHawk... Oh, if that IHawk had hit, he might have died there. So he needs to evac this. Over on this side, the Desatniki wave is just slowly pushing out blue, I suppose, but blue basically never should have been able to get in here. So yeah, Conker's getting up to here is great. But yeah, regular Desatniki are kind of trash. You want like... Is Afghansky in this one, or is it in that one? No, Afghansky's in that one. You want the Spetsgrupper? 2 of those Spetsgrupper at the start in this would be able to clear out these guys no problem. And then, you know, the tank would have to withdraw because of the 21 pen. Just gotta be careful here. And yeah, regular Desatniki, they're just not very good. So, +2 to Team Blue. And yeah, you want this in like this building, for example, because the point is, right, that they've got really low HP, so as soon as they get low, you want to withdraw them. This is not a very good plane, but it will clear out those units because it only had 1 HP. And yeah, just the fact that red doesn't have MiG-31s up, and they're just constantly getting hit by enemy planes, is really counterproductive. You would expect red to have MiG-31s up as soon as possible, and not at minute 0, but certainly first minute. And like you just want to constantly be hitting these guys every single time they come in. They just shouldn't be allowed to do this. Hit them at range. Mega Waffle 1 coming around here, and Big Blue Death on the right side. This might get some guys. So yeah, this not having them in there, I guess, it helped him in that case. It's kind of weird just having them stood in the open, but in that case it works. Sorry, I've got a very itchy nose. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me. It just never seems to go away. I suppose I could just get used to it. Yeah, I know what it is. It's all this. It's facial hair. I'm absolutely sick of it. I absolutely bloody hate it. I need to get rid of it, but I'm just too lazy. So, yeah, also, whenever I make comments like that, I get Muslims DMing me, telling me that I'm going to go to hell if I do that. So that's lovely, isn't it? But yeah, constantly itching my face all the time makes me make poor decisions. So, yeah, running forwards with Afghansky, not the best thing ever, but it just comes down to like the composition. There's too much infantry and not enough other stuff. And that's why we spoke a lot about BMP2s, BMD2s. So this guy smoked too late there, and he will go down. And yeah, red just spamming out infantry on a very... If this was urban front lines, that would be working, no problem. Player 2 here, bringing the wrong artillery, really, and the HE MLRS is also absolutely garbage. Just the M110s are better, and then 8th doesn't really need a fob. But on a map like Vertigo, you can expect a... Well, it depends what level the game is at, really. In an average pub, you can expect a slow, grindy game. In the high-level games, it actually tends to end quite quickly. So, yeah, you'll note that these guys can't shoot that, which is why we spoke so much about the, you know, like this could come around and shoot through that gap. You could put conkers in there. But yeah, you also don't want to overstack these front... What you actually want to do, if you're in DaBilla's case here, I suppose Noël's got some units there as well, is actually withdraw. Because as soon as these guys get in this building, you're going to kill them, because your infantry's so much better. But just sitting there and letting your enemy hose you down with autocannon fire, which you can do nothing about for ages, is very, very counterproductive. This is really not what you want to see. So yeah, this thing's kind of garbage. I mean, it will hurt people, it's just not really worth the investment. And yeah, you want to withdraw in this case, you don't want to just sit there and eat it. As for the Lars 2, they're a lot more effective. I mean, obviously the individual rounds aren't as good, it's mainly the fact that it reloads really fast and shoots fast, right? Especially if you put a CV next to it. And Noël should have prioritized getting the... So here we go, just like another bunch of cars. You really want those BMD2s out. They'd be so useful here. Just hosing everybody down. And then when the Abrams come through, they'd, you know, shoot 4 conkers at them at once. Very, very useful. Yeah, just gases. It's not really what you want in this case. So, player 1 here, whose name I've sadly had to blur out in the edit, because it's a very offensive name, is attacking with the... wave of infantry meta, which is, I mean, it's not a particularly good idea, but there aren't that many autocannons here to do anything about it. Like, you'd want this grenade launcher, obviously, this isn't a good place. This has been spotted. You typically want to hide it, like, here, so that doesn't happen. Because, yeah, that's not fantastic. Like, if you hide it here, then they're not going to see you, right? But, yeah, if you just sit in the open, then it's not great. And red isn't doing so hot, to tell you the truth. It's just not going so well for them. The BTRDs are just not as useful as BMD2s. The BMD3s are alright, but there's no recon here. So a strike craft going on that M113. I suppose he couldn't see the tank, but he's just losing all his guys and his transports. It's not Broken Arrow, they don't survive that. In Broken Arrow they would survive that. Which... I honestly prefer, because you can really just cheese the hell out of people by just running at them with assault squads, or literally just run right up to them and kill them, get back in your transport and drive away. I wish I'd had more time to practice that strategy, but I only had a few days. So I do try it. It's on the channel. But anyway, yeah, so just guys in trucks. It really should just be BMD2 spam. Backed by, yes, BMD3 spam. But yeah, no, like blue here should have opened with a bunch of these, and as we spoke in the deck review, should have 2 cards of these. The Nona is very weak, so this is another reason why this composition isn't great, because you don't get that much heavy arty. But basically, Noël brought 4 mini grads, which if you get those set up, or you buy 2, I say, instead of these 2, right, for basically the same price. Then, and keep them loaded, you can get a lot of damage done, like quite a lot, especially on this map where you basically know where the enemy is going to be in hit, right? And that's why owning this is so important. And player 1 has done a great job of owning this, because it just gives you more places you can hide your CV. Otherwise you're trapped in here, and it's very, very difficult. Could really use like a recon up here as well, so you can see things. And just in general, this composition is very... we're really seeing the disadvantages of it here. Because, yes, you will really struggle to kill even a Milan team with these nodes. They're just not very good. They can work for smoke, is basically all you want them for. So, yeah, HE bomber, like regular HE bomber, that could do really well, actually. I've noticed, like, Blue's lack of Eyehawks and stuff. Like, there's one back here, which is just way too far away to be useful. But yeah, Red losing the air war is absolutely bizarre. Like, this should have been out before this even dropped its bombs. It should have been, like, here. And you should just constantly leave it here, or have one constantly up here, because you'll see the enemy playing sooner, and you can just launch missiles at them, curl back around, launch a missile, curl back around. It takes a long time to get used to not getting hit by the Eyehawks. This is too far away anyway. It should really be up here, and then it would get you up to here. And the advantage of the self-propelled artillery is that you can move it between volleys. You just click it, like drag box it, whatever. Control 3 is what I use. You press 3 and it'll highlight it. Hold Shift, T, click, with Shift still held, F, click, T, click, F, click, T, click, and then it will, you know, shoot, move, shoot, move, shoot, move. You just don't have to worry about it. Like, that's the big advantage. So there you go, Mega Waffle finally goes down. There's finally enough AA here. And yeah, he's hiding in this corner, but the enemy can see him. This is an approximation. He can definitely see up to there, I reckon. Don't see why he wouldn't be able to, basically. So yeah, big attack here. Could get that Resvedka BMP2 working. And there's no AA. There needs to be AA here, or a fighter up, because this is just asking for a Mega Waffle to come and kill you. And lots of BMP2s here to stop the armoured assets coming in, you know? Or just like one, whatever, T62MD here. But yeah, bit of an uphill struggle for Red. So that misses. So it's sort of happened twice now, but what can you do? And there you go, the Eyehawk gets its first hit. And this needs to get the hell out of there before... Yeah, okay, so that's dead now. The advantage of these is that you can drop them from quite far away and then evac it straight away, but he just sort of drove it over the enemy and died, which is not fantastic. And typically, like, you know, the seed's in the deck for a reason, right? So here we go, MiG-31's up now, which is good, and he's done the shift thing, so it stays up, so that's great. And we're actually finally starting to see some BMD2s on the field. So yeah, that's a good learning there. And yeah, the Lars are going to keep firing from next to the fob, which is something that... And another thing we spoke about in the deck review is how an airborne div needs to constantly send stuff around the sides and try and cut the back line. And this would be a really great time to be doing that. Just one ZU-23 self-propelled AA and one BRDM-2 Conkers, and you literally just send them all the way around here, across this gap, and you try and find, you know, where's the arty shooting from, and then you'll see the fob, and then you can kill the fobs. Otherwise, you're just going to get hammered for the whole game. And while Blue's composition isn't great, mainly because... Well, it could be a lot worse, really. Yeah, mainly because 8th Infantry is, in my opinion, not a good pick. I mean, so I played a 2v2 tournament, and I don't want to ruin the results, but the winning team had a 8th US. So that's something, but I think it was sort of in spite of the 8th US. I don't think the 8th US was a big part of it. And here we see the disadvantage of just spamming out infantry and trucks. You know, it might have worked 6 months ago before they changed the recon. In fact, how long has it been? I've basically lost all concept of time. So now, like, this can't smoke because it's a BMD. But yeah, you need some recon here. Like, this is just very, very, very rough for Red. They're just caught in a tighter and tighter circle against divs that have much better late games than them, and they just didn't get much out of their early game. But yeah, before they changed recon, and before they deforested all the maps, which, blimey, that's like a year ago now, you want to move these after they shoot. Before they did that, it made a lot of sense to spam infantry, but they got rid of all the cover, right? So this used to be thicker, and it used to be one homogeneous piece. Same with this. I believe it used to come further this way as well. And there's just like this used to be, I think, homogeneous. This used to not have a gap in it. But some bloke... it wasn't me. Anyway... Somebody had this bright idea that, oh, we can't see anything in this game. So the solution, of course, is to get rid of all the cover. You know, instead of fixing the recon, the solution is to go back and change all the maps to get rid of all the cover. Whoa. What forward thinking. Then, 6 months after that, they fixed the recon and made it so you can actually see things now. But the cover's still gone. So on a map like this, IFV blobbing, IFV plus tank blob is basically the aim of the game. Infantry's just not that useful. Obviously on a map like Black Forest, you've still got a lot of utility there. And this is why we spoke about not diving with those MiG-31s. If you really need to kill a plane like that, you get your buddy to send one of those MiG-23s. You don't want to be diving with a MiG-31 because you lose your... The whole point is that it's really expensive because it can shoot from really far away at enemy planes. But if you dive like that, you just die, and there goes your 300-point plane. And, yeah, so these guys, they're just going to spend the whole game MLRSing this corner, which is why owning this is so important. Owning this is very important as well, but I suppose owning this is even more important simply because of where the zone is. So I think Blue, player 1, had the right idea there. And yeah, I guess really for Red now, all that really matters is can they hang on for 21 minutes? Because they're not pushing Blue out of here. That's just not happening. So we've got a purchase of 4 mortars all at once, which you never really want to be doing that. You want to spread your artillery out with frontline stuff. Otherwise, if the enemy decides to attack now, right, that's basically 3 minutes income more. It's just more than 3 minutes income, almost 4 minutes income just on artillery. And if the enemy spent 4 minutes income on Marder 1A3s, so that's 55 plus... Yeah, you basically can buy 2.7 of these a minute or something like that. So call it 3, right? 3, 6, 9, 12, get rid of 2, whatever. If the enemy buys 11 of these with infantry and you buy these 4 and he just runs at you, he's going to take your zone. So you got to be very careful. I do like the counter battery here, but I just find it really strange that they put 4 mini grads in their deck, which would have been really useful on this map. And they've got DaBilla's got 3 cards of supply. Noel's only got 2. We spoke about that in a deck review. But they never used them, right? So that is a bit weird. But yeah, just buy 1 of these and then buy frontline for a couple of minutes and then buy another one and buy frontline for a couple of minutes. That's a much better way of doing it. So yeah, this doesn't drop its bombs, and if that Ihawk hits it, it's dead. And down it goes. So, you know, this guy, Noël, he does have Seed in his deck, and he's just, this hasn't moved. It's not even got its transport. But yeah, no counter battery, no Seed. I suppose the Nonas can't reach, so you'd need those baby grads we were talking about, the mini grads. Oh, the Nona can reach. It's there. Do you see that? That's the circle. But yeah, we're here to learn, and the learning is you need more recon. Obviously, this is here. A bit more. Well, this AA can move around and shoot that, right? Taking this was smart. But then not putting Conkers in here was kind of silly, because obviously the point is to take it, and then you put Conkers in here, you can shoot down there. Conkers here, you shoot all this. Conkers here, you shoot everything over here. So that this position has been taken and it's just not been utilised. Too many infantry and trucks, not enough other stuff. Right, it's just all this truck infantry. And then the Metis, they don't go as far as they used to. That's another reason that infantry divs aren't as good as they used to be. It's also another reason why 8th isn't as good as it used to be, because the Dragons used to go like 1750 range or something. Now it's 1250, something like that. So the AT-1's back, and there's still no Ihawk. Just buying these planes and losing them one at a time to the same thing over and over again. It's kind of depressing. What I would say is this is way too far away. And... you know, we see that as Blue moves up, your AA should move with you, really. Like, this should be up to here now, but at the start it should have been here. You put it on the reverse side. Obviously, if you put it in the front, you get shot in the face with a tank round. So, CV gets sniped there, so Noël, he could, because he's got 9 seconds to react, but, okay, you just knew it wasn't going to hit him, I guess. And, yeah, so now you keep this back here, because you don't want to get shot by the Ihawk. Here we go, so instead of... moving this one, he just bought 2 more. This is still left him quite far away, and this should just be able to massively outrange that. Just sling a missile and curve away. They shouldn't be able to get to you, because to do so they would have to fly over your AA, although there's not really that much there. So yeah, just trying to fight an arty duel with 6 Nonas or 5 Nonas is not fantastic, really. So 18 minutes left on the clock, and Blue's actually winning now. So Red would have to do something pretty incredible to turn this around. Russia Today, Razvedka being as useless as always, because wow, I can tell there's somebody in this circle. Well, that doesn't help you much. Yeah, just sort of feed in the reinforcements here. But yeah, in general on this map, you going double armored div is pretty okay. Like 2nd Panzer, 5th Panzer. It's a very popular pick anywhere, really. But yeah, and going double VDV is not so much. I know 56Y is not really a VDV division, but it's still, you know, it's got heavy assets. It's just got BMP 2 spam, T62 spam, but even so, it lacks that kind of late game that you need, like 119Y for or something. And yeah, just if you're airborne, you've always got to be sending stuff around the sides. Always, 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 always. Otherwise, what's the point? I've not really seen these do anything. I don't know if they must have been firing because they've lost rounds. Because yeah, that could be a very effective way of clearing this out. And yeah, owning this is apparently very important. So here we go. So this is actually DaBilla's units. These are actually DaBilla's units. And he's not paying attention, so they're all dying in the transports. This is pretty sad. So here we go again. Still no seed plane. No fighter cover. Just diving all the AT planes into the F-16s and the Tornadoes. It's very, very sad. They should, like, at this stage in the game, you should honestly have all 4 MiG-31s. And you never want them at close range versus the enemy. Although the enemy in this case has decided to evac instead of fighting you, which is obviously a bit silly-billy of him. Missing all those was kind of unlucky. I'm not sure why the last one didn't fire as well. At least this survived. But yeah, you never want to close range those planes because they should beat you. But yeah, there should be 3 or 4 MiG-31s. I know one died here, right? I don't know if that... Is that the wreck? Wow. No, that's a helicopter. That's the helicopter it killed, actually, if you recall. Maybe. I know it killed a helicopter. I don't know if it's actually that one. Because the wrecks, they do disappear after a while, because if you recall, this guy at the start lost... Oh, no, it's still there, actually. Okay, interesting. I think they get destroyed if you damage them again. Anyway, you know, the air spam, buy the seed, right? Buy the seed so you don't constantly die to the Eyehawks. It's probably a bit late in the day for it, but really, you should be doing your air spam in coordination with seed. And in coordination with your artillery hitting the... Because, like, this guy here, player 2, he's not moved any of these. He's even sold the transports they came in, so they should be relatively easy to kill. Known as obviously not the best, but it's still possible. And yeah, I don't know if these haven't moved, or it's just they've been spotted. I assume it's because they haven't moved, because they're already half damaged. So yeah, just not really paying too much attention here. Cluster mortar's coming out. I mean, Blue is losing a lot of units. And yeah, this is cool, but like you need the recon with it. Like this should be at the front because you can't see that guy and he's killing you, and you should have been able to engage him from outside his range, basically. So thermo barracks really good against infantry, so that's cool. And yeah, these conkers are all dying. I don't know if anybody's noticed. And here we go, right? So look at the power of the BMP2 T62 combo. Like, he's not really microing them at all. They're just killing everything. And the enemy's got way more units than them. It's just working. So that's your learning, right? Do that at the start. Don't wait 35 minutes into the game to do it. And yeah, these need to move after every volley, really, because they're going to get counter-batteried. And yeah, it's still +2 to Blue. 13 minutes left. More CVs being purchased here. Really, if you're red on the right side, you want to try and take this back. And so you don't want to just be sat out in the open. You want to take this. There was never a Conkers put in here, which is a really big shame, because if they'd had a couple Conkers in here, all of this would have just constantly been dying, as would all of this. And they took this point, but they didn't really use it for anything. And so, yeah, the infantry should be going first. You should have a recon with, like, this should be with those. And, yeah, you want to take this, you want to take this, right? So this, if you put a Conkers in, you can do the same thing if you don't have this, right? And then you want to take this back. You don't want to just be sat out in the open, constantly coming up and down the open. You want cover for your guys so they don't die. And, like, you should have this, you should have this. Furthermore, you know, if you're red and you've got this, really good thing you can... I said furthermore, blimey, I spent too long on this thesis. I managed to fit the word retard in 3 times. The permeation was retarded by the addition of... Oh, I'm hilarious. I'm so funny. Every time my supervisor tells me to take it out, I just ignore him. The word retard is going in my thesis 3 times. Anyway... once you've got this, what you should use it for something. What you use it for is you take this, right? And you can do that by coming down here and taking it. Or you can just run across the field, right? So this is risky. Then you take this, and if you've got this as red, right? Red is actually on the good side because you can put guys up here. You can put somebody in here, and it'll shoot down there. The guys up here can shoot people over here, right? And this can shoot this reinforcement road. This reinforcement road's a total pain in the neck. But yeah, if red takes this and then gets to here, right? Once you get to here, then you can cross the gap to here. So, you know, BMD2s go here, infantry runs across, or what have you. Then, once you get to here, well, you've taken the zone, right? There might be still guys in here, but you can't reinforce them, and then you just squeeze them to death. So yeah, you got to move cover to cover, and not, you know... just sort of run up and down the open. But it's all practice. I mean, I sort of, you know, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but, I mean, obviously the names have been blurred out, so you don't actually know what these guys' names are, because I blurred it out in the edit. And, but they're, you know, I'm certainly rooted for red team, just because the blue names, they're pretty offensive. So, there you go, another plane down. I'm still yet to see that seed. You know, the seed that shoots at the Eyehawks. Typically, you'd want to mix that with every single bombing run. And this has smoke, so you just smoke there. But really, you want to be, you know, sat somewhere. So, red, you know, they're back in the zones, right? They've managed it somehow. I mean, I'll be honest, blue's play is really sloppy. But they understand the meta, and the meta is spam IFVs and walk into people. That really is the meta, just spam IFVs. Maybe not the walking into people part, but IFV spam versus 2 guys who only learned how to IFV spam about 5 minutes ago. And that's the reason why 56Y is so strong, is because it gets the most IFV spam. Anyway, you know, these have 18 kilometers range, which I think is sufficient for them to... Yeah, you see the line is there. There we go. So they took out the Lars, so that's good news. So yeah, that's good to see. They don't know about the fob, I guess. So yeah, that's cool. And, you know, for Blue's perspective, these haven't actually been moving. So 2 M110s. He's gone for the M109s, which I think is not a good idea. 2 M110s can sort of clear these out one at a time. Obviously, they start moving them, right? So, yeah, I mean, this is still not hidden, just sort of stood there. We spoke about this, right? So, obviously, they can't hear me, so, you know, they haven't updated their firmware. But, yeah, this should be hidden, like, here. I do like the mortars from the enemy, just sort of constantly mortaring that area. That's a good idea. And the F1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so that's going to miss. Looks like he just saw it there. And yeah, imagine if these BMD2, like, imagine if he did the attack from before now, but no, you leave the BMD2s here. You leave them here so they can support, and you send the infantry forwards to spot. You don't just run them all forwards, because then this will go in and just get blown up by the FS Jaeger, basically. It's very sad. You hate to see it. Anyway, Red's actually managed to get back in here. I'm not sure what the hell Blue's doing. So Spetscrupper are in there, but yeah, I mean, Red have basically just kind of played this game the wrong way round. The Spetscrupper should have been in here at the start, then Blue never would have got in. And the IFVs, like, you'll notice that they should be on it. You hate to see it. LGBT's out. It's probably going on that Chica. Down it goes. And yeah, really, Vertigo 2v2 is just crap. I don't like it at all. It's just all about CV sniping. That's literally all you do. That was a pretty decent Mega Waffle strike. But yeah, you really should die. And then this Chica could come in and go there, right? And, you know, blue getting a guy to here is pretty bad for red. Like, they should know about that. There should be a recon here, you know, that sort of thing. And yeah, all the BMPs died, and now there's just infantry in the open versus Marder spam. And this is ultimately why 8th isn't that good either, because they don't get IFVs, apart from those 3 Bradley CFVs. So it's mainly about the Abrams spam, but really, you know, 11th ACAV kind of does it better in that regard. Although, with 8th, you can kind of play a momentum game again, now that the M60s have gotten a bit cheaper, a bit more available, same with the base M1 Abrams. And here we go, so helicopters out. It's kind of... I just completely forgot about these. That could have happened a bit earlier. Obviously, you don't really want to be spamming them. You just want... Like, once again, this is just sort of sat here. You just want a couple back here. Yeah, not over the forest, because then you can't land. Right, back here. And it just stops enemy pushes because they have to bring AA with it, and they never do that. Particularly at this level, people just always forget to do it. Like, you see he's bought the AA now, and he's still pushing. All he's got to do is pop smoke and everything and reverse and wait for the AA to show up, but he doesn't want to do that, so everybody's going to die. Having said that, this is actually out of Kokon, so it'll probably get through anyway, just through sheer weight of numbers. And these are out of rounds as well. And yeah, so the rocket guy's doing a good job. I mean, there's no stingers here. It was just Pivads and Eyehawks, and the Eyehawks, you know, they don't really have the anti-helo range to do anything about that. So yeah, pretty gnarly game. Like, Blue's losses have actually been horrendous. It's just I think their draft was better. Like, Red has made mistakes in play, but Blue has also made mistakes in play. It's mainly just one of these strats is easier to execute than the other. And this is a conversation I have with lots of people, particularly like very high-ranked players. They're like, well, I would have won if I'd played better. It was like, well, yeah, but the main problem is that, you know, if you do something suboptimally, right? If you play 119Y as a rush div, then yeah, you got to play a lot better than your opponent to win, and it's just a suboptimal way of doing things. So, you know, the fact that you win a lot of the time doing that is just about the execution. It doesn't mean that it's a good idea. So, yeah, I mean, basically the AA has been cleared out simply by just feeding planes into it until it ran out. The seed planes, they never came out. We never saw them. At least I never saw them. And Red, they've actually managed to push back in here. Like, it's worked, but it could have been done much more easily. And also, you know, like, the Nonas aren't shooting and stuff like that. If you buy artillery, you want it to be firing all the time. How's it going with these? So that these, you know, these could be shooting. You know it's over here somewhere. And, yeah, like, the MiG-31's just not providing adequate air cover this game at all. It's very sad, you hate to see it, etc. So 4 minutes left, and a +2 to Blue is looking pretty much like Blue's going to take it. Although over here, Red could push him out. If he just ran the Spetsgrupper in, he'd be fine. And like these big squads just run him in. So yeah, just to recap everything we've learned this game. This draft isn't great. Swap out the 76Y for 11. Swap out, yeah, the 76Y for 119Y would probably be my best bet. Although 119Y is a very difficult div to play, because you got to keep those tanks alive. So 79Y is also a very effective div, and the tanks are cheaper, so it's not as big a deal if they die. 56Y can stay. Obviously, you're going to lose your forward deployment in that case, but you get a little bit on 79Y, and you get a little bit on 56Y. Spam BMD2s, BMP2s, that's sort of what it's all about with these divs. Don't buy so many infantry and trucks. Don't open like some sort of not forward deployed wheeled opener into a guy with forward deployment. Everybody's going to die. Spread your units out a little bit so they don't... I mean, this is a crater now, wow. It's actually still there. So something exploded here. It was a 1,500 kilo bomb. So yeah, I guess the wrecks just stay. I've definitely seen them disappear. I think maybe it's if something tries to push into it repeatedly, maybe it vanishes that way, you know, because the system is like, oh, it's probably blocking something. Because you can really pile them up on a bridge and then you can't get through the bridge, so... I don't know, maybe it just stays there the whole game, and I just didn't know about it. Because it does actually interact with the units. The next unit coming down this road will actually stop and path around it, which is really annoying if you're trying to do a rush, but I think it makes a lot of sense, right? So yeah, a lot of these are just practice, right? So I know that from here he can shoot down this little alleyway, so I'd be coming in from this way. Getting in the buildings and so on. And so, okay, so we've got another plane coming out, but it's like, where is the seed? That's another learning. Also, if you take this midpoint, which is a great idea, put some conkers in here, get something in here, get something in here. There was something in here, actually. Yeah, and if you take this right side, which is fantastic, get somebody to here, you know, send them around, get somebody to here. From here, you can shoot all the reinforcements coming in. From here, you can take this, and then you win the zone. So that's the advantage of this. So it's like, red seems to understand that these places are important, but they don't understand why. So they've taken it, and then they've not used it, and they've taken it, and then they've not used it. So that's a key learning. So yeah, and just keep dying to Eyehawks that don't move all game. If you buy the 4 baby grads, buy them and use them, get them stocked up, get them shooting. I did like the counter battery on this, I thought that was good. If you're playing airborne, always send stuff around the side. The BRDM2 Conkers, you can do that on any PACT div. They're really, really strong. They used to be mediocre stealth, and then they made them good stealth because PACT isn't allowed to have anything worse than NATO. So the fact that they didn't have all these Milan Jeeps, they'll just, oh, we'll just make the BRDM2 a Milan Jeep, give it good stealth. Even though, you know, a Striker's not good stealth. Whatever. And I'm just got to make my own game. So yeah, the send stuff around the sides backed by AA, right? The ZU, or even the BRDM Strela wheeled thing. I forgot about that. That's in the deck as well, so you don't actually need that forward deployed ZU thing. It's in the BRDM2 Strela with the BRDM2 Conkers. Just get it to here, shoot everybody. Helicopter comes, you kill the helicopter. The ZU's better in that regard because it is just better against helicopters. And the BRDM2 AA, this thing, here we go. It's only got 4 missiles, even though the tracked one's got 8. And it's got the same kind of 4 launcher, but it carries an extra 4. This apparently only has 4. To make strategies like the one I'm describing less effective. So yeah, still... Oh, there you go! With 5 seconds left, we saw the seed plane. So great, you love to see it. You love to seed it, haha. But yeah, sadly the good guys lost this one. So the KDs weren't actually so bad. And then you've got Prigozhin meeting the Pope with 200 games. Then you've got I've got no idea who that is. With 200 games, and then you've got a Roman. Which is that a Roman thing? I think so. With 300 games, and Stonks with 200 games. So actually a pretty evenly balanced lobby. It's so much easier to spam IFV. So if you learn in the game and you're like, what div should I play? I'm learning the game. I get this question a lot. Play 2nd Panzergren if you like NATO, and play 79Y if you like PACT, and just buy all the IFVs. You know, that's half the battle, basically. Just spending your points on IFVs is half the battle. So yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. Do let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one. GG.